Today we will study the left portion that we were discussing in previous class. So now here we are discussing about database concepts which we left in the previous video. Here we have a database design, basically known as a table, which is also known as relation. So we have a relation here, and we can see that here we have some attributes of it. These are column names and these are known as attributes. These are the row values. So these all are rows and these all are column names. So we generally refer to them as attributes, and these are the key values. Basically, if we are declaring this id as key, that we can call it the key values. We have all the values stored. So if we consider only first row, that is id is 222, name is Einstein, salary is this, department name Boston is, building name is this, budget is this. So this we when we consider this first thing, we can call it as the record. So we have such kind of various records present in this, and so here we have a problem. Is there any problem with this relation? So can we see here? Okay, I tell you. Uh, Suppose I'm seeing this name CADS. Okay, so department name is computer science. Okay, then we see the other name brand. The department name is computer science. I am seeing the other name Srinivasan. Department name is computer science. So here we can say that the information is being repeated, because if I have grouped by department, then only by seeing this department all the persons of the same department can be listed here. But when we are seeing these names, again and again the same thing has to be written in front of them. So obviously here this building name Taylor, and then again Taylor, then again Taylor. So what is the problem in this relation is that the information is being repeated. So what we have to do is just to make it organized in such a way that there will be a reduced redundancy. There should be atomicity, means the um the information should not be written more than once if not needed. Okay. So here we come to design approach. We need to come up with a methodology to ensure that each of the relations in the database is good. Two ways of doing so: entity relationship model, and models and enterprise as a collection of entities and represented diagrammatically by entity relationship diagram. Normalized theory we will study in next classes. So entity relationship model, I have told you, entity is basically if we are considering a college or institute, the students are entity, faculty or staff is entity. Okay, management is entity. So entity is the atomic thing, means it cannot be divided anymore. Yeah, sure, you will have to use records, you will have to save records under it, but it cannot be divided once more. Okay, so if students is written, it will be written, and after that it will not be divided. So faculty, staff or principal or management, the entity is the atomic thing. Okay. Now, object relational data models. Relational models such as flat atomic values. Object relational data models. Now, we will study the basic things of object relational data models. Extend the relational data models by including object orientation and constructs to deal with added data types. Allow attributes of tuple to have complex data types, including non-atomic values such as nested relationships. Preserve relation foundations, in particular the declarative access to data, while extending modeling power. Provide upward compatibility with existing relational languages. Then comes XML, Extensible Markup Language. So it is defined by WWW or World Wide Web Consortium, originally intended as a document markup language, not as a database language. The ability to specify new tags and to create nested tag structures made XML a great way to exchange data, not just documents. So XML is very good for exchanging data. XML has become the basis for all the new generation data interchange formats. A wide variety of tools is available for parsing, browsing and querying XML documents or data. Database engine. Here we have parsing and translation. Whenever a query comes to the engine, there is parser and translator. So this parser basically goes or scans through the query and scans it, parse it, and then translator does it work, and it is converted into a expression which is now converted into relational algebra expression. Then here we have optimizer. Here some statistics about data is stored. Statistics means some mean, median, mode, or this kind of data, central tendency. So these things are stored in the statistics form, and then it goes through the optimizer, and then it goes through the execution plan. Basically execution plan is a thing which is very important in the case of query processing, because this execution plan once made is saved, and then if you have to rerun that query, this same execution plan is made to run, and the memory or the resource of the processor, basically we can save that time. Then we come to evaluation engine. Here the data is evaluated, and then according to the query, the input that we have given here, the output of the query comes this side. So this happens in query processing. This transaction management is telling us what we have to do when a system fails. So particularly when I have given you example of ATM, that a transaction we are doing, and if it breaks in the middle, then the inconsistency issues are there, because amount is debited from one side but not credited to other side, or not withdrawn to other side. So this kind of thing comes in inconsistencies part of the transaction. Now, what if system fails permanently? If I have some amount in some bank, and that bank is not working, or the system has been failed, then what should I do for retrieving my money? So what can I do in that case? So a transaction is a collection of operations that performs a single logical function in a database application. So what happens? This transaction is the collection of operations that performs a single logical function in a database application. Basically, the statement of transaction states that if something has initiated, it will be completed, and after completing that whole thing, the transaction is said to be completed. So it is a collection of those operations that perform a single logical function in a database application. The transaction management component ensures that the database remains in a consistent, correct state despite system failure. Example, power failures and operating system crashes and transaction failures. So these kind of failures doesn't make the transaction management component to stop before committing the whole transaction. So whole transaction is completed once, and then only the the power or operating system um, can take the risk to be non-working. And this transaction statement basically states this thing only, that if there is some transaction occurs, it should be complete in itself. Okay, the power failure or anything, system failure, nothing like this can happen, and this should be ensured with the help of transaction management component. Then comes concurrency control manager. It controls the interaction among the concurrent transactions to ensure the consistency of the database. Basically, it controls the interaction among the concurrent transactions. So if suppose if two people have reading access of the same transaction, then it doesn't affect anything in that transaction. But if one of them has writing rights on it, then one person can change some x to y, and other person can change some x to z. So in just a moment of time, that data has been changed, and now we don't have the initial copy. What will we can do? So for that problem, we have the solution that concurrency control manager controls everything. Whenever multiple transactions, multiple users access the transaction for writing something on it, then the concurrency control manager ensures the consistency of the database. So it would remain the same for every time. Now database users and administrators. We have database here. Basically database is the collection of tables and that collection of relations. Basically we call it relations. So we have here application interface, application programs, query tools, administration tools. These are directly connected with the database because they can access the database. But naive users, application programmers, sophisticated users, database administrators, they cannot directly use or directly access the database. They have to use these middle interfaces to access the database. Okay, so naive users can directly can contact the database with the help of application interface. Application programmers can access the database with the help of application programs. Sophisticated users can access database with the help of query tools. Database administrators can access the database with the help of administration tools. So this we have database system internals. So this we have already seen this much part, that naive users, application programmers, sophisticated users, database administrators use application interface, application programs, query tools, administration tools to access the database. But what happens inside the database, that we can see here only. Here we have some compiler and linker that is used for compiling and linking the application program. Then we have application program object code, which is basically coming from the compiled application program. It generates this application program code where application interface is uh, able to connect. Then here query evaluation engine, because here you get all the query that has been come from outside, and here this query evaluation engine just evaluates the query, how much efficient it is. So we this query evaluation engine generates the report that how efficient query it was. Okay, so now we have this object code coming to DML queries. I will tell you what is DML queries. Just suppose this is DML queries, and compiler and linker through application program object code, these all comes to DML queries. Then this query tools goes to administration tools and goes to DDL interpreter also. It comes here DML queries, then DDL interpreter. So DML is data manipulation language queries and DDL is data definition interpreter. So DML queries comes to DML compiler and organizer. So once again, we have compiler and organizer for DML queries, and it also goes to query evaluation engine. Then the data goes to four different stages. So this particular portion is known as query processor. Now we are going to storage manager, because we have now query completed, and that is coming from this DML compiler, organizer, and query evaluation engine. So particular thing that is needed in the buffer manager, it will goes to here. Then file manager will data will go to file manager, some data will go to authorization and integrity manager, and some data goes to transaction manager. So data is made such like it should be going in the proper formats. Okay, then we have data, we have indexes, we have a data dictionary available here inside the database. Then we have statistical data, which stores all the values of complex queries and all. So this is the uh, small and brief introduction of database system internals. What happens inside the database? We have database architecture. The architecture of a database system is greatly influenced by the underlying computer system on which the data is running. So basically we have these four types of architectures. Firstly, centralized, then comes client server, then comes parallel or multiprocessor, and then distributed. So these we will study in detail if needed. Then this is the history of all the researches that have been come in the way of DBMS. In 1980s, research relational prototypes evolved into commercial systems. SQL becomes industrial standard. Parallel and distributed database systems. This all has come in 1980s. Then object-oriented database systems. So these all have come in the 1980s. Then we come to 1990s. Large decision support and data mining applications were invented in 1990s. Large multi-terabyte and data warehouse, emergence of web commerce. In starting of 1990s, uh, we got all these things. Then early 2000s, XML and XQuery standards, automated database administration. Then later 2000s, giant data storage systems like Google, Bigtable, Yahoo, Peanuts, and